Hey, ambitious bookkeepers, are you tired of tangled client onboarding processes and drowning in paperwork? Maybe you're winging it on every client you onboard with the sloppy process, lots of back and forth, time-consuming, inconsistent client experiences. Well, I've got some exciting news for you. Introducing Dubsado Decoded, the ultimate self-paced course for bookkeepers and accountants that's here to rescue you from the chaos to bring you the golden ticket to a seamless onboarding experience. Picture this: custom forms, automated workflows, dazzling client portals, all at your fingertips. And the best part is you don't need to be a tech wizard to make it happen. Dubsado Decoded will guide you step by step through everything you need to know. Imagine feeling confident that each client is getting a consistent experience. You aren't having to think about what you need from clients, doing all the follow-up, appearing sloppy or going back and forth, and you can focus on serving your existing clients or marketing while your new clients are self-onboarding. Now, here's the real kicker. Right now, you can hop on the summer sale bandwagon and grab this game-changing course at 20% off. Yep, you heard me right. Enroll during the month of July and lock in our summer sale price on any version of the course or add-ons if you already have the course and need any additional workflow setup. The sale ends July 31st. Trust me, you don't want to miss this opportunity to revolutionize and automate the way that you onboard clients. So whether you're just starting out or a seasoned pro looking to uplevel your client experience, Dubsado Decoded has your back. Say goodbye to confusion and hello to a streamlined, stress-free onboarding process with Dubsado. I've been using Dubsado since nearly the beginning of my business and have been working with Kendra, who I've partnered with on this program for years as we've fine-tuned the setup process just for bookkeepers. This is the perfect opportunity to have her Dubsado expertise with my same setup at a fraction of the price it would be to have her set it up for you. Plus, you'll come away with a deep understanding and knowledge of how Dubsado functions, so you can feel confident that you're using it correctly. This is a very powerful system once you know how to use it. Not only will you get 20% off any version of the course or workflow add-ons, you'll get access to a handful of bonuses curated by me to help you land clients, stay organized with client work, and savings if you join my other programs after this. So head over to dubsadodecoded.com for all the details. The link is also in the show notes. You have any words of wisdom for someone who is like wanting to start their business, or they're in a situation like you were where you're like, I'm a solo firm owner, like where do I go next? Like what should I do?
I think just having a vision of what you want and just not letting things get in the way of that. So like for me, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and be with my kids. And so that's the whole why behind my business, is to be able to have that flexibility and be able to be with my kids if they're sick or if they need me or if they just want to go swimming in the afternoon. Like that's okay. I want to be able to be there because they're all young. I have 3 under 6. And so you don't get that time back. And so I think just trying to be there with your kids and prioritizing the times that you do get for work. So work is work, and, time blocking is very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And just staying mindful of all of that too.
Hey, and welcome to the Ambitious Bookkeeper Podcast. I'm Serena Shoup, CPA, a mom of 3, and I've been running a virtual bookkeeping business from my home since 2017. You are in the right place if you are a bookkeeper, accountant, or an accounting student, and you believe and know in your heart that your purpose is bigger than sitting in a cubicle. If you're ready to learn some actionable tips and strategies for starting and growing your accounting business, then I hope you stick around. Welcome back to the Ambitious Bookkeeper Podcast. I am Serena Shoup, your host, and today I am talking with Corrie Scott, the owner of Taylor Made Bookkeeping Solutions. Welcome, Corrie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So today I asked you to come on the podcast and talk about kind of your experience with your bookkeeping firm and using your Dubsado and all the things. So if you want to introduce yourself, your firm, kind of how long you've been doing this, where you're at in your firm, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. My name is Corrie Scott. The name Taylor comes from my middle name, Taylor. It's a family name as well. So that's where that comes from. But I have had my business, December will be 3 years. Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited. Right now, I am just a solo firm owner. I recently, actually, it's been about a year, back in September, I went full time with my firm. And so I had a full time job previous and then have started doing this after the birth of my third child. Yeah. So
Yay.
she's about to turn one soon. So I'm excited. But I have 22 clients. So that's where we're at. I am from Tennessee, but I serve clients all over from California to North Carolina, Illinois to Texas, just a random
Yeah.
collection. They're everywhere, but it's awesome.
Yeah. As do most of us, I think a lot of listeners. It's so awesome to be able to like help so many clients across the US and not be bound by, your locality these days. Awesome
Yes.
opportunity that we have. Okay, so you're still a solo firm owner, which I wanted to highlight that because a lot of people listening, I'm sure, are like, how I don't know how to become more efficient as a solo firm owner and like be able to manage all of, you're managing 20 some clients on your own, or do you have like a VA or any extra support? It's all you. So your extra support is maybe getting extra support at home and using software
Yes.
to automate.
Automations and help from my mom.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that because I've been getting a lot of questions lately also about people being like, I listen to all these other podcasts and they talk about these like huge firms, and that's just not where I want to be, and B, not where I am. So, can you please
Mhm.
talk about what it's like to be a small firm owner and especially a solo firm owner or micro firm or whatever you want to call yourself? So, what has been one of the biggest like hurdles to that and how you've been able to overcome?
Honestly, just automating as much as I could. At first, it was all of my proposals were like drafted in Canva, essentially, just using the same draft and changing it per client,
Mhm.
and that got really tedious really quick. Um, and so I was like, I can't keep doing this every time and updating the engagement letter. Like I had the general thing, but then I would copy and
Yeah.
paste it into a Canva template to make it look a little bit nicer and more on brand and everything. And changing all of that per client. I mean, when you get past 10 clients and you are onboarding and doing all of the things, I mean, it's too much and too tedious to keep doing that.
Yeah, especially
So
when you consider you're at 10 clients, but that was how many proposals? More than 10.
oh yeah, oh yeah, there was a lot more than 10. I
Exactly.
did have a great conversion rate, but still there was a lot more than 10 proposals that went out during that time. And so I mean, if you're doing, like, let's see, I opened in December, so January of 2021, I think I had 5 consults a week because I got this massive referral from one of my friends, and she was like, my bookkeeper acquaintance is closing her shop down, and we worked out this deal for referrals. She couldn't take on anymore, and so she started sending them to me. She's the whole reason I got into this business in the first place.
Okay.
And so she started sending me those referrals, and it was just a lot at one time. And so managing all of those proposals, and just, I mean, I'm brand new, so I'm just like figuring all of this out.
Yeah.
It was a little chaotic.
Wow. Okay. So you were at 10 clients when you were like, I need a different system.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I had tried, like, when I first started, you're overwhelmed with all of this tech and all of this software, and you're like, you should try this and you should try this. And so I've tried like a couple different website softwares, and I was just like, this is too much for me right now. Like, I don't have time to like do this. I don't have time to set it up.
Yeah.
And so I just put it on the back burner. And then it got to a point where I was like, yeah, I gotta automate some things, or I'm not going to be able to maintain any more growth really past. I figured out my cap was 12 clients where I was at.
Yeah. Yeah. And for some people, it's going to be smaller depending on how many
Mhm.
hours you have available to work. Cause my cap was at like 5 when I got to that point. I
Yeah.
was like, okay.
And that point too, I was working full time. I just found out I was pregnant with my third daughter. And so it was a lot. And I was like, I can't do anymore unless I automate some things and get some systems figured out so I can effectively do this and not get burnt out.
Okay. So at that point, you were like, okay, I'm going to have to select a system. What was your process? Did you already you already knew you were going to use Dubsado and you just had to go all in, or what was that?
I had used Dubsado before and I really liked the idea of it. I had checked out a couple others and just never went with it. The whole setup process was just like overwhelming at the point because I was like, I'm managing these clients, I'm doing all of this, momming, all the things. And so I just put it on the back burner. But then when I realized I needed it, I went back to the one that I liked more, and that was Dubsado.
Okay.
So, and I started trying to set up at least, I had a mock-up proposal and I think I had the contract, and I think that was it as my first like basic setup.
Okay. And then you got to a point, because we're here talking, where you decided to enroll in Dubsado Decoded. What drove you to that decision?
I think I was actually following you, and I think I saw either in an email or like a social media post or something about this Dubsado Decoded, and I was like, this is exactly what I needed at the time. And so I think it was like a launch special or something, and so I was like, perfect timing, jumped right in, and honestly has been like the best lifesaver that I can think of. I helped automate everything, has been amazing.
Did you do the full course or just like the basic package where you're like, I just need one workflow? Which did you opt for?
I think I did all of the basic like bookkeeping workflows setups, and I added on the cleanup one.
Okay.
But I don't think I did like the diagnostic or the extra ones. I think I just did all of the main bookkeeping ones and then the cleanup one because that was all that I needed at the time. But it's been wonderful.
So what features are you using in Dubsado?
Okay, so I use obviously the proposals, the contracts. I have updated to the workflows, and I actually got a client through tagging Dubsado in a story, and she she helped me move my scheduler to Dubsado as well.
Awesome.
And so I use the scheduler with the forms built in on my website. I use the workflows for just about everything. Obviously, contracts, additional services, amendments, and then the automations for all of that to just be sent with the emails and everything.
Yeah.
Recurring invoices, I do all my invoicing through there.
Okay.
So it's pretty much a one-stop shop.
Yeah. Do you have it integrated with QuickBooks Online?
I do. It integrates there. They've done the updates obviously with Stripe, and so I was using Stripe previously, so that was pretty seamless for everybody. And so yeah, they just went on with Stripe, and so everything just kind of connects, and it's been wonderful because before entering all of my invoices in QuickBooks to do my own bookkeeping, I would have to manually just either do a sales receipt or, add the invoice myself and mark the payment. And so this also takes that out of the equation as well.
When you set up your Dubsado, did you do it in like phases where you were like, okay, I'm just going to tackle this one part of my process? And how did you decide which one you were going to start with?
I started with monthly because that's where most of my clients are coming in with either monthly or cleanup. And so I just started with the monthly because that was just the easiest workflow stream.
Mm-hmm.
And then I added in just a cleanup, and then I added in what happens when you need both, onboarding all the way through.
All right. And so for our listener, just because I know sometimes people are like, well, you're talking about workflows in Dubsado. Does that mean you can manage all of your client work tasks? That is not the workflow that we're talking about. We're talking about basically the onboarding workflow. So we're only using Dubsado for the onboarding portion of the project, which means like for a monthly bookkeeping client, there's a specific workflow from someone who's just a cleanup client, like different things that you're going to be doing during that onboarding process. Because a cleanup is a one-time project. You're not going to roll them into monthly accounting. It's a different engagement letter. So that's why there's these separate workflows that we have set up in the program. So you decided to start with the monthly bookkeeping portion. And in that workflow, then it starts opening up all these other things like, are you using the intake form for like collecting documents?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you have
Yep.
the ability to, I mean, we can just kind of like talk about what that workflow looks like. Do you want to pull yours
Mm-hmm.
up? We don't have to screen share, but just to kind of like guide so people have an idea of like what exactly that workflow entails. I think it would be really
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. Let me get logged in here. I should have been logged in before, but
That's all right. So while she's doing that, like I mean, I use it similarly. Like the program Dubsado Decoded pretty much mimics the workflow setup that I have for my firm as well, where there's a lead capture form, and that's our what we call our interest form. Client facing, I call it an interest form, or prospect facing. It's like if you want to become a client, you fill out this interest form, and then it puts you in a funnel, basically a section of Dubsado that's like, okay, this person's interested. I get an email that's like, this person filled out this intake form. You need to go and evaluate whether or not you want to have them on a discovery call. At least that's how I have my process set up. People cannot book a discovery call with me directly because time is very valuable. And I want to be able to first make sure that they're willing to fill out a questionnaire. Filters out a lot of people that are going to just be tire kickers and waste my time. So that's where the process starts, at least for me. Is that how you have yours set up as well?
Yeah. So if a client is interested in bookkeeping services, they'll go to my website, they'll click, a link that'll take them to where they can make an appointment. I have this form embedded in the scheduler now. So they pick a time that works for them. And then it goes through, all of the pre-req questions. And so then I review that before their call. We get on the call, we talk, whatever. And then I do the proposal, and it will like go through each of these steps. So it will like remind me, hey, review this before X, or do you want to approve this proposal before it gets sent? And so once I'm done and I'm satisfied with how the proposal looks, I'll hit approve and it'll go ahead and send it. And then everything is scheduled. So I'll add the contract and it will go out as well once they go through the proposal, and then it will generate the invoice after they finish that. And then it goes to the next step of, it'll send like a confirmation email, and then it will send an intake email. And so this will send the form that has like all of the sensitive stuff. So it has them give me access to their accounts, and they check the box once they've done that. I'll give them a Google Drive folder link, and they'll upload all their documents to that link. Any kind of statements or startup documentation, their logo, things that I might need, it's all there, and they check which ones they've uploaded so I can see. And then I have a fun little section at the bottom that just kind of tries to get to know them, which I really enjoy because you find out you have things in common with them, and it kind of gives you a better connection with your clients because you're able to tailor things to them a little bit better.
Yeah, we do the same thing, and that was born out of, so side note, I'm like, this all sounds very familiar. And that's because we built this program based off of my workflows and like what I do with my clients too. And we use that section actually to source a gift box. And we use a company called Linden Square Co. And they curate customized boxes for each of our clients based on those answers. And so we send a book if they checked physical book that they like to read, and then like whatever colors they liked or coffee or tea, we include that in the box. And so like our clients are like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. As soon as they finished onboarding, they get that box.
Which I can vouch, the boxes are super cool because I joined her BBA course as well.
Yes.
And they're super cool.
I love them. I think it's...
I received this like mysterious box, and I was like, I didn't order anything. What is this? And it was so cool. It was so sweet.
Yeah, they're amazing. And I'm just going to like plug them for a second. I'm not a shopper. I'm really not good at those kinds of things. And I know that about myself. And so that's why I work with these types of, like, I do the subscription clothing boxes for the same reason. Cause I'm like, I don't know what to wear. Like this is someone else's job. It's the same thing with these gift boxes. I just tell her like, this is what, I kind of ideas of what I would want in there, but like they come up with options for you. And then they present it to you and say, you could do this, that, or this. And like, I love just choosing options, and then they make it customized, like the color of our brand. And I had welcome cards made from Canva, and I just had them directly shipped to Linden Square, so they keep them on stock for me, and do a handwritten note. So that one, if you got a box, those handwritten notes aren't actually my handwriting, but it's my message. I'm like giving away all the secrets, but that's how we do this. Like, I feel like it's important for people to understand like how those things work behind the scenes, so that they can provide this kind of service to their clients too, and know that it's out there. And yes, the boxes are not cheap. You can give her a budget. The budget we've established for our monthly bookkeeping clients is $100, which some people are like, that's a lot for a gift. But when you look at the lifetime value of a client, I'm like, I'm going to make so much money off of this client over the next 5 years. Like $100 is like barely a drop in the hat. So consider that as well. But anyways, moving on. I think we were talking about the intake form and like the personalized questions about the client. So whether you use it for a gift or just for your own internal knowledge, it's super helpful to have that.
And so I use that, I try to send a thank you note after my clients. I would like to eventually update and, upgrade to something like that, because I think that's a really nice touch. But after they get done with that intake form, I use that, and I use all their information. We get started with their bookkeeping and everything. But then I also have it automated to send 3 months later, like a feedback form or a testimonial form. And this has come in clutch so many times, because I don't have to remember, and I don't have to physically like think, oh, I need to ask them for a testimony. It's so like, I feel not bad asking for one, but at the same time, it's like awkward.
Yeah.
I feel like this takes the awkward out, because it sends it and I don't have to double think about it. Like I don't have to think about it again. It just sends it. And then when they fill it out and I'm like, oh yeah, that's sent, like, great. And so then I can review it and like go through, okay, if there was any negative feedback, great, like let's fix that. Or if they had a great review, please let me put it on my website. Like, I hope that they said it was okay, and most of them have. And so I've put those on my website. But it's wonderful because it just automates it. And so I don't forget months down the road, oh, I probably need to see how their journey is going. This does it for me.
Yeah, that I would say that has been a game changer for us too. And for anyone listening, even if you don't use Dubsado, build something into your process to gather client feedback and testimonials that automates it like that somehow, or someone on your team, your VA, somebody reaches out to a client, put it in your onboarding checklist so that you are getting feedback. And I would say if a client is going to fill that out, it's going to be a glowing review. And now you have an amazing testimonial that you can share on social media. You can share it in a newsletter. You can share it on your website, and you should share it. And like having that automated, for us, the same thing. I'm like, oh, I forgot. Like we onboarded that client. It's already been 3 months. And look at this amazing review. And now we have all these testimonials on our website because of that process.
We'll be back after a quick break.
This episode of the Ambitious Bookkeeper podcast is sponsored by my brand new free training, The Ultimate Guide to Creating a Profitable Bookkeeping Business. In just 1 hour, you will learn 3 keys to creating and launching a profitable bookkeeping business. We will map out your path to creating a bookkeeping or accounting business that keeps you in control of your time, priorities, and expertise. From someone who built a 6-figure firm on part-time hours. That's right. You can stay in control of your time, keep family as your priority, and serve your clients well. It just takes a little strategy up front, and I'm going to help you with that during this free training. So head over to the show notes to sign up now for the next training and find out how you can choose the work you do, kick imposter syndrome to the curb, use tech to be super efficient, which all leads to a profitable business. Just head on over to ambitiousbookkeeper.com/training, and I will see you there.
Yes. Because if it wasn't for that, I would, like, my first 10 clients, 12 clients, like, before having this, like I would just be sending emails like, hey, if you have a second, do you mind to fill out this questionnaire? And it's like, as some of them did, and it was great. And I did provide like an incentive for doing that. I think I sent like gift cards like, hey, if you don't mind to take a second, fill this out and I'll send you a gift card once I receive the feedback. And so, I mean, it was something, and it did provide like a little bit of an incentive for them to fill it out, but it was still very tedious because I had to draft the email every single time and I had to blind copy everybody. And,
Yeah.
it was a process. And so I had to create the form. And so if you do all this on the front end and then you just schedule the workflow, that's it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of work on the front end, but you're not having to rinse and repeat every time. It just
goes in the background. Yeah. Most of the time when because you get an email alert, the way our Dubsado is set up, and yours will be too if you go through this program, is it sends you an email that says like so-and-so filled out this form. So same with the intake forms. And so you're like, oh, you don't even realize like, oh, they've been with us for 3 months. Like they filled out this form, and then you get to see like this amazing glowing review in your inbox. And yeah, it just completely runs in the background. You don't have to approve that workflow or anything if you set it up that way. And yeah, so key. And you can also set that up on one-time projects, as you should. You should still be getting reviews from one-time project people.
I have the same workflow set up no matter if they're a cleanup, monthly, whatever. It's still, after that intake form happens, it's 3 months and then the feedback form gets sent.
Okay, so let's talk like logistics of how you managed among 22 clients to also implement a system like this in your free time, because that's going to be someone's question, like how the heck am I going to have time to go through this program and set up my Dubsado? So how did you manage it?
Well, I think too, it's all depending on your personality and your schedule, because I'm also the personality that like, once I'm determined to do something, I'm going to finish it. And so like I started it and I was like, I've got to implement this. So it was like on my to-do list, like every day to do parts of it. Like I would set like a section, like I need to get the proposal all done. And so I would finish that. And then the next day I would work on X. And so I would kind of chunk things in time slots that I had available. I also work well late at night. So there's that. So when you're a mom and you've only got limited hours, you kind of make do with what you got. So
yeah,
but not everybody's schedule's like that. So you might be able to fit it in the mornings, or like I would listen to the videos when I was busy doing something just so I could have it playing. And then whenever I could actually do the steps, I would go back and have it playing while I'm like working on Dubsado. And so that helped too, because I was already familiar with the video, and then I would go back through. And if I was in a time crunch, like I think there was one time I was onboarding while I was going through the course. And so I like skipped a couple videos to get to where I needed to go so I could finish that workflow.
Yeah.
That way it wasn't like a funky flow for that client. I could just start it and keep going.
Yeah.
So, and it does actually help if you are setting it up while you're onboarding a client, because I mean, you can get everything set up for them and then know exactly, oh, I don't like the way that this is flowing. I need to fix this. Yeah. Or I needed this information, so I need to add this next time, so I don't have to email them again. So you kind of get the feel of how to personalize it as you keep going. But
yeah. Oh, that's so helpful to hear, like how different people implement programs and how you do manage to, like, if you really want it, you make time for it, and scheduling time for it is really important. And in any type of project like this, that's like a back end thing, is like, it's important. So you have to schedule time for it and make the time, but it's for a finite time period. So it's like, you just sprint through it, get it done with, and then the rewards are
thing was just like sprint through it, just get it done, because the sooner it's done, the sooner I can use it. And so that was kind of my thing, was like, do as much as you can and as little time frame, so that way it's done. And then I mean, it's a big setup. That's why I didn't start off with Dubsado originally, because I had no idea where to start. I mean, it's just how to format the proposals and the contracts and stuff, like all of that formatting with Dubsado Decoded was done. I just had to plug and play all of my information and my photos and my the way I talked and things, but it was already like formatted and set up.
Yeah.
And so it took a lot of that guesswork out. So like the amount of time it would have taken to set it up myself versus going through something like Dubsado Decoded was like, it cut it down like drastically.
Yeah. And the other option is to hire somebody to set it up end to end for you. But like, first of all, that can cost you starting at like $4,000 for one. And then the other thing is like, if you're not working with someone who already knows the bookkeeping process or has those templates ready for you, it's going to be even harder because then you have to basically lay it all out for them and walk through your entire process with somebody. But in Dubsado Decoded, like we give you the exact workflows because we know they work for us. And like all you have to do is customize it to your exact process, but like the bones of it should be similar. And there's going to be things in there that you're like, I didn't even know I was supposed to be doing this, like the testimonials.
Exactly.
And you don't have to think about it. It's just all there laid out. So yes, thank you so much for sharing your experience. And if you have any words of wisdom for someone who is like wanting to start their business or they're in a situation like you were, where you're like, I'm a solo firm owner, like, where do I go next? Like, what should I do? That would be great to share with our listener.
I think just, having a vision of what you want and just not letting things get in the way of that. So like for me, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and be with my kids. And so that's the whole why behind my business, is to be able to have that flexibility and be able to be with my kids if they're sick or if they need me or if they just want to go swimming in the afternoon. Like, that's okay. I want to be able to be there because they're all young. I have 3 under 6. And so you don't get that time back. And so I think just trying to be there with your kids and prioritizing the times that you do get for work. So work is work, and, time blocking is very helpful. And just staying mindful of all of that too. I don't know if that answers that question very well.
No, that was great. I think a lot of people lose sight of like, well, why was I interested in this? And like, just know you're not the only one that is doing it for this reason.
Yeah. It gets overwhelming because you're so like, you start this business and then everybody throws things at you. You should be doing this. You should be using that. You need to do this. And, but knowing your why, like, helps keep you grounded and keep your focus on your end goal and what you want to accomplish, and kind of helps feed out the noise of, I should be doing this or I need to be doing that.
Yeah.
No.
Especially as a solo firm owner, for someone like you and I, who is like, I mean, I talk about a firm, but I'm like, it's not huge. We have under 20 clients, but that's because I'm not trying to become a millionaire from my firm. Like, that's not my goal. It could be someone else's. And in that case, you're going to have to build a really big one. But if you're listening to this and you're like, I was definitely interested in this solo firm conversation, like, this is how you do it without burning yourself out, hopefully, is implementing systems like Dubsado, so that we have so much amazing technology at our fingertips, but it is overwhelming. So thank you so much for spending the time with us today in your busy client load and mom life. I really appreciate it. Thank you again so much. If someone wants to connect with you, where's the best place to do that?
So you can find me at Taylor Made BKS on Instagram, or .com is my website. So both of those places, easy to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Corrie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you to everyone who helps make this podcast possible. Content and interviews are produced by me, Serena Shu. Our intro and outro music is written and performed by my brother, Ian Gilliam. Editing is also by Ian, using his awesome sound engineering skills along with Descript software. Hosting and publishing is by Buzzsprout. And you can check out the show notes for links to all of these amazing resources and resources mentioned in the episode.
Be ambitious.